If you're watching this on the replay, give us a thumbs up or do a comment, and that's going to get this out to more people. So I uploaded the Dungeons and Dragons video on Sunday. My son came in and helped me through that whole process. So if you haven't had a chance to see it, that's okay. I'm not going to be working on it directly this week anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out our spreadsheet from today, the character sheet that we worked on, so that you can start working on your own Survey123 and how you think that Dungeons and Dragons game should go. For those of you who are some of my higher level students, you're going to know that the hierarchy is probably where we're going to end up using a lot of putting our data in. For those of you who don't know what that is, you can Google that. Just do Survey123 hierarchical, I think is how it's spelled. We'll see what that works out. Anyways, get your brain warmed up. I'm going to show you how to do all of that, but it'll kind of tell you, it'll get your brain warmed up. So 2 ways to do the homework. The first way is just how I told you. Take the character sheet, kind of write some notes, take this spreadsheet that I'm going to send you, and then figure it out. Figure out how you're going to do that. I will also send you the link to the website that he talks about so that you can do some research on your own. The second one is for those of you who aren't really experts yet in Survey123, make a flow chart. Even just notes on that character sheet that says, this is what I think we should do. I don't know how to get there yet, but that's the plan. And let me know, or let yourself know, if it's a text field, if it's a number field, is it a decimal field, those type of things, because you're going to warm your brain to getting to that next step. I don't send out the spreadsheets very often, so this one will be your baseline and you'll build off of that one. I want to set you up for success, but I don't want to do the work for you because I know that learning this is the best way to learn, is actually getting your fingers dirty on your keyboard. If you're not on my email list, you can sign up at survey123jedi.com. I know some of you got the calendar invite from a friend, and that's okay if you just want to be here. If you want some of that extra data, just sign up so that I can get you on that email list. I'll send out the calendar invite so you'll have all of that too. Okay, so we're building off of what we did last week. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is where we ended last week. Not very pretty, but it's efficient. We don't know what all these labels are. We know that this is a barcode. We know that we're pulling in data over here, and we know that the date was really ugly. So what we're going to do with those dates is we're just going to wait on the dates, because the correct way that the dates are going to show up are going to be inside Survey123. There's a lot of funny code that we could put in here if that was necessary, but that's just beyond where we are today, so I'm not going to worry about that. Let's see. We also talked about GeoTrace and GeoShape. What is the difference? Well, as I was looking at the two, because I don't usually use both of them, and there's a reason for that. GeoTrace and GeoShape, the answers are GeoTrace is to create a line feature, and GeoShape will create your polygons, your circles, triangles, squares, rectangles. The funny thing is, if you use GeoTrace and you make a square and close it, it'll still make a square for you. I thought that was weird, but it's okay because, but I don't know if it'll make a circle. I didn't go that far, and I didn't check if it'll do the triangle, but it will do a square. So I thought that's probably why I don't use them both. So there's that. Ugly dates, all that fun stuff. All right. What I want to do is I want to show you what's going to happen if we have GeoTrace, GeoShape, and a GeoPoint. What's going to end up happening here is we're going to get an error message when we try to publish this. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to publish. And for some of you who haven't published before, it's not scary. It's going to be okay. But here's some details. And the very first time that you publish something, you want to kind of dial it in the best you can so that you don't have to remember to do it at the very end when you go from beta to your live information. So here I would put something like contact Michelle Williams, here's my phone number, or put my number in your phone, contact me if you have any issues with your Survey123. That's what I would put in there. Here we're going to have all the information that's going to tell the computer to do something. So I always say require the latest version of Survey123. And the reason for this is, sorry, that's not Survey123, the latest version of the survey that they're doing. And the reason for that is if I build something on the back end, maybe I add a field or I do something, and they don't have my latest release, then they may never put something in that new field. So always, I don't know why it's not automatically clicked over, but that's okay. Allow new surveys to be collected for us. Yes, there are times you want to turn that off. We can get into that at another time. Show location indicator on map, that we want to do because if the inspector goes out into the field, we want them to be able to see a point on a map if that's something that they need. Most of the time they're going out to a place that they don't know, especially if it's their first time, and they can at least see where that dot is on the map, and that'll help them out. Overview folder, I don't normally use this. If you want to learn more, you can learn more about that option. We are going to be using repeats, and repeats you turn on your inbox. Because what happens is your inbox pulls all that current data down to Survey123, so your inspectors will have it. Now you'll notice there's a funny little red box that shows up. It's very important because what we want to do is turn off our sent folder. I never have those two on at the same time because it's confusing enough, but there's actually a reason you do not want that sent folder on. Once your device pulls down that current data from the cloud, if you have a sent folder and you have an inbox and you've already sent, you're the same inspector that went out the second time to get this this report, since it's in the sent folder, it will not come back down into your device in your inbox. It just won't. So turn the sent folder off. It's more confusing than anything, but it's really confusing when your inspectors get into the field and they can't download what they need and they don't know why. And if you don't remember, you're not going to remember why. So just turn that one off and that'll save your sanity every time. Let's see what else we have. Images. Images are important because if ever you're taking a picture of maybe a tailboard is when the inspections that are the meetings you have before you go on site. And maybe you are just the overseer and you have a third party that's doing the tailboard and you need to take a picture of that document that has all the information that they collected. If you take a picture and those images are not big enough, legally, you're not going to be able to read them. So that's the only time I've ever noticed that I need bigger images. Otherwise, 1280 pixels is fine. Smaller is better. Just depends on how you want to do that. Test it out. We're just normally we're taking pictures of the forest and some rocks, what the hill looks like. So most of the time this is just good enough. Then this is our maps. We haven't worked on maps yet, so don't worry about that. It has an automatic map that's going to show up. Media, we haven't done anything here either, and that's to be expected. Linked content, we don't have any linked content. Once we publish, we can see that we'll have some linked content. Scripts, we don't have anything yet, but someday we will. And this is your schema. That's what it all looks like, and this is how your questions look and things like that. So going back here, after we've done all that, we're going to try to publish. It's going to give us that error message. It only allows one geometric field, and we have a few. So I'm going to say cancel, and then we're going to do some changes in here. You can have extra shapes as long as each of them are in their own repeat. So I have a beginning repeat there. I'm going to insert because we want a beginning and an end, and then we want a beginning and an end. So let's see here. We're going to do an end repeat, and a beginning repeat. Okay, so we have a beginning and an end, and a beginning and an end. And as long as you have both of those, you're going to be just fine. We could move this ending repeat up here, which is probably a better idea. Insert. And paste. I'm going to take this one out and say save. Okay, so I don't have a name in one of my beginning repeats, and that makes a lot of sense. We're going to just copy and paste this down here. 2 and 2. And it's not very sexy, but we're going to copy and paste a few things over here in just a moment. Okay, so I have some text in another document over here. I'm going to make these a little prettier. This just is going to tell us exactly what we want to know. I'm also going to copy and paste a few more. Okay, and you'll get this spreadsheet, so you'll have all of these notes. So here we go. Here we're coming way down here. Then we've got our repeat questions. That's the geotrace. We have our other repeat question. That's our geoshape. Then we have images, audio, file, barcode, and all of our information down here. I've added some notes like this is the ugly date. So we're going to check ArcGIS Pro so that we can make sure to get all that situated. Let me look at my notes. I'm going to show you one more thing in here. Because I didn't even tell you about it. There's a query expression here, and the query expression is going to filter the inboxes for your end user. We won't get into that right now because we don't have any data in there yet. So we'll create this. If we leave that blank, every single report will come back into Survey123. So your inspectors will have all of them. At some point, you may want to say make sure that everything that comes into the inbox is an open report or does not equal closed or something like that. Because then if you've got 1,000 records in there and you don't want the closed ones, that might bring it down to 300. Keep all that in mind. You don't want your surveys to be really heavy on the user side. So, but we'll get to that ahead of time. We'll get to that. All right, so we are now going to try to publish. Go to our options, enable sync. When you enable sync, that means that your end users can go into the field without Wi-Fi. And so we say, okay, we can do this analyze, which is great. This is a new tool from Esri. I think 317 or 318 had it. And then you can come in here, click on that link, and somewhere it's going to show up. There it is. And this is the first time I saw this. This was really cool because if you have a type notes and you put the name and the label, it will actually create a field on the back end. If you don't put a name, I think it is notes. Yeah, notes. If you leave the name part out, it'll still show the note to the end user, but it won't create a field for you. So I thought that was really cool. That's what I learned when I did an analysis one time. So right now it's saying consider the hidden appearance in the question type over here where it says hidden. This is legacy. And so they actually want us to come over here to appearance. Oh, since I'm over here in appearance, it won't say hidden, but you see how up here we said hidden up here? They actually don't want you to use this hidden anymore. Except there is one time you want to use it, and that's when you're doing grid themes. We'll go over that another time, but just keep that in mind. So you would put text here and hidden way over here. And that will fix that issue. Instance name not set. Oh, instance name. What that is once we get into, since now we're going into the inbox, your instance name is here in settings. I'm going to leave it blank now so that you can see what it looks like. But Esri basically will take the first couple questions that you have, and that's what it's going to show the end user in the inbox. But we can dial that in and we can tell the computer what we want them to see, and that's where you would put that. So we're not going to do it yet, and we've taken their advice and fixed some things. Let's save our edit that we made to our hidden field. We should be ready to publish. Okay, so that is the note that just says, once you publish this, it kind of locks a lot of things in. You can still add and remove fields, but there are some things that you don't want to do. Part of that is adding another spreadsheet to your schema, which has to do with more repeats or adding another image and some other things. So just keep all that in mind. And then we're just going to say publish. All right. Now that it's published, if you come over here to linked content, it actually has something in there because once it's connected to AGOL, ArcGIS Online, once it's all connected, you have things that are linked, and that's just automatic. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, open up our desktop version. And if you'll notice at the very bottom, the icon's showing up for that. And remember, probably week 1 or 2, I said my icon wasn't showing up. So last night I downloaded the newest version of the desktop, and it seems to be fixed. So keep that in mind as we go through this. Download a new survey. This is the one we want to download. Week 8, there it is. And now you have the collect button and the inbox button. We don't have anything in our inbox yet, but if we did, the very first thing that you would do is hit refresh. And if there was something in the cloud, it would pull it down into my inbox. There's nothing in there, and that's what we expected. So we're going to go collect some data. Do this as a test. Say Beaumont segment. Apple fire, because that's where I live. We had the apple fire a few years ago. Whatever that is. If I was truly wanting to test this, sometimes what I would put is I would say, what the access issues are or whatever. And I'd actually put some information in here. But for today, we are good. Oh, inspectors, you could use this. This is great for using inside your inbox, the inspector for the task, because you can dial in the inbox specifically to an end user. Let's go down here. So here's our GeoTrace, and we can use our GeoTrace. We were going to check and see if this will do. Yes, new line. Let's see if we can do a triangle. Perfect. I would probably use this one all the time because it's lines and polygons. The other one is a shape, and it has to be closed. So keep that in mind. I love that. That's exactly what I was wondering. This is your geo shape. And this one I think can also, yeah. Okay, so there's one difference is you could do like a spline line if that's something you wanted to do. Great. I love that. Okay, images, we can take a picture. Oh, I can't take a picture. I might have just broke my survey. Oh, I didn't. Thank you. Since I'm on camera, I can't do that. Audio, same thing. I'm on the computer, and I could add a file, barcode, and then there's all that fun information for me down there at the bottom. I'm going to say go. Oh, my location. All right, here we go. And remember that your site, your geo point, you always want to say that you must do that. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, you'll end up at Null Island. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what all that looks like in the cloud. Content. And week 8. Okay, so this is your week 8. You have a feature report. I'm sorry, you have a feature layer that's going to be all the data that you can pull down into ArcGIS Pro. You have your form, and that's where your Survey123 lives. And then it always creates a web map for you. Once I get this finished, I'm probably going to delete that original web map and recreate a new one from the feature layer, just because there's so much that happens. And then I'm going to use that web map for things like dashboards and web app builder and experience builder. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what that looks like on the back end. Data. And there's our data. Not very sexy. We can also come over here to Survey123. Oops. I like to move Survey123 all the way to the top. We just got updated an account, so mine hasn't been moved yet. And then this is where your surveys live. This is where your feature report is going to be built. And this is where you can see a little bit of analysis as you go through it. So you can see that there is a point, a shape. Well, the shape is the geotrace, and then the geo shape is actually the squiggly line. So you're going to have 3 layers because we put them each in their own repeat. And then you have all your data, and your data will show up over here on the side. When you have a lot of records, I turn that off, and you can turn it off here. And then you can also export your data here. And you can also do your reports here. And we'll get into that another time. But I wanted to show that to you so that you can see that a lot of information is collected through Survey123. We can check our inbox real quick. We're going to discard that survey and go in here. And now when you go to your inbox, you can hit refresh. And there it is. This is, like I said, about the first 3 questions, 3 or 4 questions. It's just going to throw some stuff in there. Some of you have asked how you could work with me. So I've come up with a few ways that we can work together. First off, if you are a Survey123 Padawan Academy student, I do have a 1-hour block of time for $60. This is done in the mornings between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I also have a VIP day, which can be between 4 and 8 hours. And those are usually for team setting, corporations, things like that, where you have proprietary data and you can't be in a group setting. I have Padawan Mastermind. This is my favorite because this is the one that I'm creating on the fly. We are doing a beta program in October because I want to give my upper level students something that they can chew on without waiting until the end of the year to figure out how to do everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on one complete project. The way that this is going to flow is that I'm going to send you your introductory email. And in that email, it's going to have the Excel file for our homework. I'm going to give you a video that shows you exactly what to do. It's going to be easy. Then what I want to do is meet with you for 30-minute increments throughout the month. And what we're going to do is we're going to build on all of that. I'm going to talk you through where some of those hurdles are. And then we're going to start working through the feature report, because feature reports are sometimes persnickety. And if you've done images and you just can't figure out where those backslashes go, this is for you, because I understand why it's working the way it's working. And it doesn't show you when you export that template quite the way that it wants you to use it. So going forward, you're going to get all of that information for a complete project. We might get into dashboards or web app builder or experience builder, things like that. We might get into those. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that yet, but that's what the great part of having a beta program is. So just to let you know, the price goes up as we get a certain number of students in because I want to compress how many students are in there. So if you get in now, it's $99. After the first 10 people, it's going to go up to $199. I hope you join us because this is going to be worth so much more than just the cost of getting in the door.